Welcome to the S-Man Storybox podcast and stories telling. Dive into captivating stories filled with life lessons, love, friendship, family dynamics, and emotional twists that resonate deeply. From scandalous dramas to spiritual wisdom, we deliver insights to inspire, heal, and transform. Here's what we offer: heartfelt tales and life lessons, stories that inspire and transform wisdom, true stories, twists of life and love, emotional journeys that move the soul. Whether you're looking for motivation, life advice, or just a great story, this is your storytelling haven. Subscribe now and join the S-Man Storybox family, because every story we tell could be the one that changes your life. Let's keep learning, growing, and sharing, one story at a time.
I was out hiking with my dog the other day, and I just had this incredible burst of energy.
Oh, nice.
And it really made me think about that's what it means to feel healthy.
Yeah.
So it's perfect timing when you requested this deep dive on the importance of good health.
Perfect.
We've got this episode planned
Okay.
for a podcast called Health Unlocked: The Key to a Thriving Life, to explore together.
Yeah,
It is, right?
it
It makes you think.
It does.
And it kind of reminds me of that quote:
Okay.
health is not valued till sickness comes.
Kind of a downer, but
Yeah. A little bit.
it makes you appreciate those moments when you just feel amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like my
Thomas Fuller, I think, is
Yeah.
one who said that,
Oh, was it?
if I'm remembering correctly. But I
Okay.
think he was really onto something there. And it seems like this episode plan, at least starting with the Why Good Health Matters section.
Yeah. Is going to dig into that idea even further?
Well, let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
So right off the bat, they emphasize that health isn't just about physical well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mental, emotional health too.
It's a whole package.
It really is the
Yeah.
whole package,
Absolutely.
which I think is super important.
Yeah, have you found that to be true?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you can't really separate,
Yeah.
all those things.
No,
Because if you're stressed out,
yeah.
it can manifest physically.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think this holistic perspective is really spot on,
Yeah, it is.
for sure.
And then they break down what they're calling the pillars of good health,
Okay.
which are nutrition,
Mhm,
exercise,
mhm.
sleep,
Right.
and mental health.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting is that they don't just talk about what to do, but how to actually make it work.
Yeah, the practical
Application.
Yeah, exactly.
Like meal prepping to make healthy eating less of a chore.
Oh, meal prepping is a game changer.
Isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
It's one of those things that seems so simple, but
But it makes a huge difference.
it does.
Yeah, I found so much more consistency when
Right.
I started doing that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And you know what else I like about this episode plan?
Yeah.
Is that they talk about finding joy in exercise.
Yes.
Not just grinding it out at the gym,
Yes.
which, let's be honest, can get old.
It can.
Yeah.
Totally. They mentioned dancing, hiking, things that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Which, obviously after that hike
Right.
that I just had,
Yeah.
it resonates with me.
Absolutely. It should feel good.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a punishment.
Shouldn't do.
Yeah. It's all about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of,
Yeah.
this episode plan includes an interview with a health expert,
Oh, cool.
which I think is such a smart move.
Yeah.
Because imagine getting insights from a nutritionist on debunking all those diet myths that we see everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
or a sleep specialist on how to actually get a good night's rest.
Oh, man.
I mean, the possibilities are endless.
I know.
Right?
It makes you wonder, what kind of expert would be
I know.
the most insightful, given all these different
Yeah.
pillars of health
Exactly.
that they're covering?
It's a good question for our listeners.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
What kind of expert would you be most interested in hearing from?
Yeah. If you were putting together this episode.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, right?
But let's move on to the next part, which is practical tips and challenges.
Okay.
They even have this 8 glasses of water a day challenge,
Oh, fun.
which I'm always trying to drink more water, so I might have to try that.
I'm in.
Are you?
Yeah, we can do it together.
Okay, let's do it.
Although I have to say, the 8 glasses rule is kind of a myth.
Really?
It is. It's more about just listening to your body and staying hydrated throughout the day.
Okay.
But what's interesting is this episode plan also talks about tracking your progress.
Oh, okay.
So they mention journaling or apps like MyFitnessPal or Headspace.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
It's like they're encouraging self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just go through the motions
Totally.
and not pay attention to how things are actually
Exactly.
impacting us.
Yeah. And speaking of habits,
Yes.
they also highlight some quick wins, things you can implement right away.
Oh, nice.
Like swapping out sugary drinks for water, or adding a short walk to your routine, or even just choosing a piece of fruit over that bag of chips.
Oh, that's great.
Right. Small changes, big impact.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a key takeaway here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not about some crazy overhaul.
Right.
It's about finding those sustainable changes that you can build on over time.
Exactly. Yeah, totally agree.
Which, let's be honest, is much more realistic.
Way more realistic. And then there's a listener Q&A section.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, I imagine there'd be some great questions there.
Yeah.
And shared experiences,
For sure.
which always adds another layer to the conversation.
Absolutely. It's like tapping into this collective wisdom, you know?
It is.
And speaking of collective wisdom, they wrap up with a call to action,
Okay.
urging listeners to actually formulate their own personal health goals.
Oh, I like that.
It's like they're saying, okay, you got the information, now what are you going to do with it?
I like that.
Put it into action.
They're putting the ball in the listener's court.
Exactly.
It's not just passive listening.
It's not.
It's about taking ownership.
It is. It's about owning your health journey.
For sure.
Totally.
And you know what else I think is really interesting about this episode plan?
Sure.
Is the focus on prevention.
Oh, okay.
So they talk about regular checkups, screenings, vaccinations, all those things that we often put off,
Right.
but are so important for catching potential issues early on. Right. It's about being proactive
Exactly.
instead of reactive,
Absolutely. Yeah.
with our health.
And I think it ties back to that Thomas Fuller quote.
I think
As we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
we often don't really value our health until we're faced with sickness,
Right.
And it's not just about physical health either. They
Yeah.
dedicate a whole segment to mental health, emphasizing stress management techniques like meditation, journaling, therapy.
That's so important.
Right, because you can't have good physical health without taking care of your mental well-being too.
You can't. No.
It's all connected.
It is.
You know what else is interesting?
Right.
They talk about the importance of sleep hygiene.
Oh.
Which is something most people don't even think about.
I don't. What is sleep hygiene?
Well, it's basically creating a consistent bedtime routine and optimizing your sleep environment for quality rest.
Okay.
So things like avoiding screens before bed, keeping your bedroom cool and dark, sticking to a regular sleep schedule,
Oh, okay.
all that good stuff.
So it's like,
It can make a huge difference in how you feel.
Okay.
I know I'm definitely guilty of scrolling on my phone right before bed.
me too.
I have to work on that.
Yeah, we all do.
But I want to, before we get too sidetracked, I want to circle back to that guest expert interview.
Yep.
Because I'm really curious to hear what kind of insights they would bring to the table.
Sure.
Imagine getting advice from, a top nutritionist.
Cool, yeah.
Or learning about the latest research in mental health from, a leading expert in the field.
It would be amazing.
Right. It's like you're getting a personalized consultation from someone who's dedicated their life to understanding these topics.
It is, yeah.
Which I think adds a level of credibility and depth that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Totally.
Yeah. And then they also emphasize community and social support.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like encouraging listeners to share their health goals.
Right.
Using the Health Unlocked hashtag.
Exactly.
Which,
I imagine that could be really motivating and inspiring.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's something powerful about
Yeah,
sharing your goals publicly and connecting with others who are on a similar journey.
it is.
It creates that sense of accountability,
Yeah.
shared purpose.
And community, like we were talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go far, go together.
But I'm curious, what are some practical tips, like some quick wins, that this plan offers for those of us who are ready to start making changes?
That's a great question, and the plan definitely delivers on that front. Let's dive into some of those quick wins after a quick break.
Taking care of your health starts with small choices that make a big difference. Drink water, move your body, and choose vibrant, nutritious foods. Your body is your best investment, and it deserves the best care. Take a moment today to check in with your wellness, whether it's a brisk walk, a hearty meal, or a quiet moment of relaxation. Good health is a journey, not a destination. Make every step count. Start today because you matter. This Good Health podcast is brought to you by S-Man Storybox, where we bring you heartfelt tales and life lesson stories that inspire and transform, wisdom through stories, twists of life and love, emotional journeys that move the soul, health, entertainment, and more.
So we're back. I mean, they mentioned sleep hygiene in the episode plan.
Right. Well, sleep hygiene is all about creating that environment and routine that promotes restful sleep.
Bro.
So things like making sure your bedroom's dark, quiet, cool, avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed, and sticking to a consistent sleep schedule.
Oh.
Those are the big ones.
Okay.
They even talk about the impact of blue light from electronic devices,
Oh, yeah.
which can interfere with melatonin production and make it harder to fall asleep.
Yeah, it's like tricking your brain
Exactly.
into thinking it's still daytime.
Totally.
Yeah.
So putting away those phones, laptops at least an hour before bed can really help.
Oh, for sure.
And it's interesting how they suggest using journals or apps like MyFitnessPal or Headspace
All right.
to track not just food and exercise, but sleep patterns too.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's like they're encouraging that self-awareness.
it is.
And it's not just about like
Yeah.
one specific area.
It's about connecting the dots
Exactly.
and understanding how everything's intertwined.
It is. It is.
And I think that's where those quick wins they talk about come in.
Yeah.
You know, those small changes that can have a ripple effect on your overall well-being.
For sure. Like swapping sugary drinks for water,
Exactly.
taking a walk at lunch,
Yeah.
grabbing some nuts instead of a bag of chips.
Those all seem doable,
Yeah.
even for someone who's just starting out, you know.
Right.
It's about setting yourself up for success with those achievable goals.
Totally.
And it ties back to that idea of sustainability.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to like overhaul your entire life overnight.
Right.
You know, they're encouraging listeners to make those gradual changes that they can stick with, which, let's be honest, is much more realistic.
Way more realistic.
Yeah, and that brings us back to that listener Q&A.
Yes.
Which I'm really curious about.
All right, too.
I want to hear what kind of questions people have about these different aspects of health.
Right.
You know, what kind of experiences they would
It
share.
would be so interesting.
It's like having this conversation with a whole group of people
That is.
who are all interested in improving their well-being.
Totally.
You know, and it actually reminds me of something we haven't talked about yet.
Oh.
The importance of social support.
Oh, right. They do mention that.
Yes.
Episode plan.
Encouraging listeners to share their goals using the Health Unlocked hashtag.
Right. Right.
And I think that's so important because having that support system,
Yeah.
whether it's friends, family, or even an online community,
Yeah.
can make a huge difference in staying motivated
Oh, for sure.
and achieving those goals.
It's like, yeah, you got your cheerleaders
You do.
on the sidelines.
Absolutely.
Oh. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of good health, I want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
What's one small change you're inspired to make today based on everything we've talked about? It could be as simple as drinking an extra glass of water, taking a short walk, or even just spending a few minutes practicing mindfulness.
It all adds up
What's that one tiny step you can take today
right now.
to start building a healthier, more vibrant you? Think about it, commit to it, and remember, even the smallest steps can lead to huge transformations over time. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Hit subscribe and turn on those notifications because there's so much more to share. And I want you right here with me for every lesson and twist along the way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most of all, thank you for being part of the S-Man Storybox family. Let's keep learning, growing, and sharing one story at a time. See you in the next video.